This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And, of course, Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network out there. And we got a lot to get to today, Lee. College basketball, NBA, NHL, college football. We're all over the map here today, a few days before Thanksgiving. So let's jump right into our first college basketball blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
A rematch from the Elite Eight. It's Houston and Tennessee. They're meeting in Vegas, and it's been incredibly all these great matchups in Las Vegas. We're seeing over the next few days. We saw it yesterday, and just getting all these big-name teams out there before Thanksgiving. So Houston, who lost in the national championship to Florida, they are a 3.5-point favorite here against another SEC foe in Tennessee. Volunteers look for some revenge after that loss. Tennessee's played a weak schedule. Lee, what do you like here with the Cougars and the Vols?
Yeah, I mean, some of the arenas, I know like this game's played in the MGM arena. There's some arenas, they've changed the name, or I don't even know what they are, but I guess there's enough different venues there. So I think there's something like 5 different tournaments going on at one time. So you're a basketball fan, you don't have a big family, just head on out to Las Vegas and watch basketball and have fun eating food and gambling. So matchup, as you said, a rematch here. Both these two teams played, and when they played last year, it wasn't even like, Houston, played extremely well here. They only forced 9 turnovers, but made Tennessee shoot 5 for 29 from the field, 17% from three-point range. They are long. They are relentless, and they just don't stop. I've never seen a team, I don't know what they do as far as getting ready for their season, but they must run these guys to death because they never stop. I've never seen a team as relentless as they are every single possession here. So they've already know how to beat this team here. Looks like, they played absolutely no schedule at all, Tennessee. Mercer, Northern Kentucky, North Florida, Rice. They dispatched them by 33. 25. Tennessee State, Rutgers. I mean, Rutgers lost their top 2 guys who went high in the draft here. There's nothing there. At least Houston has been tested already. They have games against Auburn, won by a point. Syracuse, won by 4 in OT. They're battle tested here. So, pace of play isn't great, but if you're going to pick Tennessee, with a line of 3.5, you basically have to win the game unless it's a real close game. The pace of the play scares me a touch here. Vols ranked 325th in pace, Cougars 363rd, but I think the defense, the rebounding, I just think that they know how to play them here. I'm going to go with a blowout here. Start off our Tuesday in college basketball, hopefully get real hot here soon. We're going to take the Houston Cougars here, lay the 3.5 over the Tennessee Volunteers.
Couple games ahead, Lee, for Tennessee after this. Syracuse on the road. That's the SEC-ACC battle. Remember, it's no more Big Ten ACC. It's now SEC-ACC. So Tennessee, Syracuse, Illinois, Louisville. Those are the next few games. So Rick Barnes' team is going to get tested now. After, you loaded up on some cupcakes. That's fine. But now they're really going to be tested coming up over the next few games. So we'll see what they do here, starting with this matchup against Houston out in Las Vegas. So a bit of a struggle yesterday, Lee. Went 1-4 in our picks, but again, Texas, Arizona State came down to the end late last night. Arizona State ended up beating them. In case you missed it late, but want to get to the NFL though. So the 49ers, for the first time since starting 3-0, they won back-to-back games. They overcame Brock Purdy's 3 interceptions. They beat Carolina in the Christian McCaffrey revenge game. And you hit on this yesterday about Bryce Young. That Bryce Young, he had that huge game against Atlanta, over 400 yards, but that's just so against the norm for him that every game it feels like with him, he's throwing for less than 200 yards. And if he can't get any of that offense going, they really don't have a chance.
Right. They never had the ball. Here's what hurt them. They only had the ball for 22 of the 60 minutes. When you have a long touchdown drive against you, the first drive, I hate that. You want to make the team punt, make them settle for the field goal. Here's a crazy stat. Teams that score the first field goal of the game, that's it. If they score, I'm not talking about the other team scoring, first drive of the game, if they score a field goal, generally they lose the game more times than not. So it means that the defense is able to hold when they have to. I mean, you get 3 interceptions in the first half, and you only get 7 points. So they needed to run the football early and often. They have 2 bell cows there. They went away from it. When is Bryce Young at his best? When they're running play action. Doesn't have a strong arm. He needs those linebackers to be sucked in, and he can throw over them or in between them. They have trouble getting into their drops or, a step or two slow. They couldn't do that because they never had time to get the running game going, and they didn't spend enough time to try to get it going. Then on the goal line, the 1 yard line, you're going to try to throw the football over the top with Bryce Young, gets intercepted. I mean, everything that could go wrong with the play on the Panthers. Then you figure you're getting 7.5. They close it to within 8. The extra point, they're offsides, so they take the penalty, go down to the 1. What do? 1.5. Instead of running, throw it again, incomplete. So, just poor coaching there, poor execution.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about that on social media. Like, what are you doing? Like, either keep the extra point or run it. You have these running backs, like give it to them from a yard out. You could bust in as opposed to throwing the ball in this tight window with everyone here. I don't know. It didn't really make a lot of sense. So the 49ers, a big win for them, still behind the Seahawks and Rams in the NFC West, but at least they helped themselves with that. So now let's go to the NBA. Just 3 games in the league tonight, and they'll load it up tomorrow before Thanksgiving. Time now for another blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
The Atlanta Hawks have been a nice surprise so far, in spite of Trae Young being injured. And the Hawks in D.C. against the 1-15 Wizards. Not a lot of magic there from them. Atlanta's a 10.5-point favorite. My goodness, what happened to this team? So the Hawks, big favorites here, Lee. What do you like with them against the Wizards?
Yeah, so you're thinking Atlanta without Trae Young. How can you lay 10.5 points? Also without Porzingis, he was traded. All these guys, it looked like they had a nice roster last year. I think they have better dynamics this year. And what's crazy about it, when Trae Young doesn't play, they're a better team. And how about this? You think of them as a horrible, horrible defense and a great offense. Well, they rank 8th this year in defensive efficiency. So when he's out, they play much better. Jalen Johnson averaging 22.5 points, 9.6 rebounds, and he is the guy. So they're 17th in scoring, and they also hold opponents here to just 114 points per game. It's actually pretty good. Washington is just in full rebuild mode every year. I mean, they got some young guys that might be good, but they have a bunch of guys that are listed as questionable game time decision. I think this is one of those games where a lot of these guys for Washington, these young guys, they're thinking about going out, partying, seeing family. You get a more veteran team here in Atlanta. Like I said, no one knows how good they are defensively, and they're still good offensively. Young just turns the ball over a lot. There's some games he'll go like 3 for 12 shooting threes, and he'll shoot his team out of a game. I like Atlanta's discipline in their defense here. I'm laying the 10.5 on the road. Give me the Atlanta Hawks here, blowout special over the Washington No Magical Wizards.
So coming up on Friday, Lee, a game that everyone's gonna have their eyes on. The Wizards take on the Pacers. Washington is 1-15. Indiana, it was in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
2-15 out of the gate. Understandably, their best players out with Tyrese Halliburton, tore his Achilles in that Game 7. But speaking of which, that it feels like there's a lot of teams in the NBA, especially this season, and we haven't seen this in a long time. Look at these records. The Nets are 3-14. The Pacers are 2-15. The Hornets are 4-13. The Wizards are 1-15. That's just the Eastern Conference. In the West, the Grizzlies are 6-12. The Mavericks are 5-14. What happened? Did Luka get traded? The Pelicans are 3-15. The Jazz are 5-12. The Clippers are 5-12. They have injuries. The Kings are 5-13. That's a lot of teams with not mediocre records, with terrible records.
You didn't mention Portland, did you? They're 8-12.
I didn't mention Portland's 8-10.
8 and 10. They'll fall by the wayside. Right. You know, their coach is gone. I mean, they're playing inspired. Most of those kids, they want to get playing time. That's why they played hard, you know, with an interim coach. So that's 10 teams. The Clippers will be fine. 10 teams that are non-competitive. I have a tough time. You know, sometimes early in the season, you look to these teams, you're like, oh, they're going to play hard. There's 10 teams that I'm telling you, if I pick them more than 2 times the rest of the season for my clients, that's going to be a lot. Just, you got to find some incredible spots here. They're bad and they're not covering. So they just don't care. These teams, you know, they're not going to make any moves. They're probably going to sell off assets here. Every year, most of these teams in full rebuild mode.
These teams, Lee, have won less than 30% of their games. Like, that's how bad it is. This isn't even that you're an average team. You're completely below average. And then when you look at some of these other ones, and understandably with injuries, Giannis is banged up. The Bucks are 8-10. The Celtics are 9-8 with Tatum out. The 76ers with Embiid, who knows when he's playing, 9-7. That none of these teams have really busted out, but the 2 biggest stories have been Detroit at 15-2. They've won 13 straight. And Toronto has won 8 in a row. They beat Cleveland last night. They're 13-5. The Raptors got Brandon Ingram from New Orleans last year, and they're starting to be competitive. And I don't know if it's going to hold up in that division. I mean, the Nets are kind of out of it, but you think the Knicks will eventually. The Knicks beat the Nets last night. Yeah. Philly will get it going. Boston will get it going. But Toronto, like, that start is pretty incredible.
And how about the Miami Heat? Miami Heat's 12-6. Tyler Hero played for the first time last night. I think Miami is really, well, they're fun also, but really good. How about the trade Norman Powell? They trade Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson. These guys are like worth less than nothing. I mean, these guys are like 12th to 15th guys on the bench, in my opinion. They're done. Their careers are done. And a second rounder for Norman Powell. This isn't a guy making 40, 50 million. It's a guy making like low to mid 20s, I believe, in salary. He's averaging 24 points a game. He's found a home. He's Heat culture. Him and Tyler Hero in the backcourt. You put Bam, you put Ware, the young kid, the backup center. They got they might have the 6th man of the year, Jaime Jaquez, who was great his rookie year, was terrible last year. Some must have been distracted or something. I think he's the favorite right now, or one of them, for the 6th man. Forget about Mitchell Wiggins. They were trying to get rid of
Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins. Yeah. And then you know, I just think that Miami is a quality team, and obviously, you know, they have one of the best coaches. And I'm not saying he's a starting guard. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Devion Mitchell. Great point guard, but they'll probably start him sometimes. You know, they got a solid team. Look out for Miami with Coach Spo.
Yeah, they've done a good job in that division. You got some dogs in that division, so they have a really good opportunity to clean up, and especially with Orlando being a bit up and down early. Coming up, we have NHL, we have college football, we got all of that straight ahead. Very busy Tuesday right here on Locked On Bets. All right, let's talk now about FanDuel. Another week of the NFL is closed out, but the good news is we have 3 Thanksgiving Day games coming up. And FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. You get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what can you bet on? So many different things. You have the 3 big games on Thanksgiving: Packers, Lions in Detroit, the Chiefs and the Cowboys in Dallas, the Ravens and the Bengals. Joe Burrow's return to the lineup for Cincinnati. So you can bet on any of those games, all those games, the side, the money line, the total, whichever one you feel best about. Also the player props. When you look at all the star quarterbacks going on Thursday: Burrow, Lamar, Dak, Mahomes, Goff, Jordan Love. You have all of them going on Thursday. And then if you have more action coming up on Sunday and Monday inside the NFL, also MVP odds. Matthew Stafford of the Rams, he's the odds-on favorite right now at FanDuel to win that award. If you want to bet on him, or maybe someone else you're looking at could bypass him at plus money, all those choices you have right now at FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue Locked On Bets. There he is. There's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. Kevin Rogers with you. And NHL tonight, Lee, just one singular game, and that's it. But it is a Western Conference Final rematch. It's time now for our Hidden Gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
So last year's Western Conference Final, the Stars and the Oilers, in fact, the last 2 years it's been, and Dallas has made the Western Conference Final 3 straight years. They haven't found a way to get over the hump. They've lost the last 2 to Edmonton, and now they're going to Edmonton tonight, continuing their road trip, and we'll see if they can bounce back from a loss to Calgary in the shootout a few nights ago. My hidden gem tonight is Dallas first period plus 110. Edmonton is back home after a 6-game road swing. They beat the Panthers on Saturday in the Stanley Cup final rematch. So definitely a lot put into that game I know there's not a lot of revenge there, but at least they got a regular season win over the Panthers. Edmonton has won 2 and 5 at home in the first period this year. So 8 games, they've led once after the first. And Dallas, they have not led through the first period in 3 straight games. I think here They bounced back after, again, getting tripped up by Calgary. They had a high-scoring game against Vancouver before that, but I think the Stars will be focused here. Edmonton had the revenge spot against the Panthers. Dallas will have that tonight against Edmonton for losing in the Western Conference Final last year. So let's go with the Stars first period against the Oilers as our hidden gem.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like it. I liked certainly thought that Edmonton was going to be ready for the Panthers. They were, and we know the Stars will be ready for the Oilers here. And first game back, these teams, you have those long road trips, first game back, and then sometimes when you have that long road trip, when a team's home for 4 or 5 games, packing up, getting ready to leave the next day, sometimes they leave their game at home. They don't leave it on the ice. So, like I said, might catch them napping here, get a 1 or 2 goal lead, and that's all we need in the first period.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Stars can take care of business tonight in Edmonton. And that's the only NHL game of the evening. College football, you got Maction tonight, final night of Maction. It's a sad night. But then you have a lot more games coming up. Nothing Wednesday, but then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so many games. And Saturday, big game inside the ACC. Miami visits Pittsburgh. And it's time now for our wrong team favorite.
What the WTF?
The Hurricanes and the Pittsburgh Panthers coming up on Saturday up at Acrisure Stadium. Still Heinz Field to me, but Acrisure Stadium. Miami nearly a touchdown favorite. Pitt off that big win over Georgia Tech last week. This has been a stretch for Pittsburgh. They had Notre Dame the week before. They knock off Georgia Tech last week on the road. Now back home. And the Hurricanes, after beating a weak Virginia Tech team last week, trying to go 10-2 and outside shot to make the ACC championship. We know the Hurricanes have struggled towards the end of the season under Mario Cristobal. So, Lee, what do you like here? The Hurricanes, 6.5, 7-point favorite against the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Well, we know Mario Cristobal, not one of the better game day coaches, probably bottom 10 in the country. And most of the other coaches that are on the bottom, you don't know their names. Most of them are coaching in the MAC, coaching, Conference USA, the American or Sun Belt. Just has trouble making decisions, the right decisions in big games in the fourth quarter. This could be another one here. They're going to face Pittsburgh freshman quarterback Mason Henschel. I think he's from Northwest Ohio, and came in with a lot of acclaim. And this kid's good. Outside of the Notre Dame game at home, he's thrown 7 touchdowns, 1 interception since he was inserted after they were 2-2 on the year. And kid can do it all. I think he really sees the field well here. Just they were not ready for Notre Dame. But other than that, I mean, looks dominant. They went into Georgia Tech, took care of Georgia Tech last week, led from the word go. Were never really threatened here. Miami has not faced many good passing quarterbacks. In fact, only Kevin Jennings at SMU is, I consider, above average. 24 touchdowns on the season for Kevin Jennings, and he did a number on him. Miami pass defense, the numbers look good, number 6, but they've only given up 8 touchdowns, but they did lose their number 1 best cornerback, and he was rated number 1 by Pro Football Focus. So that's a loss, and here it is. Here's the reason can't back Miami. And I'm a Miami fan. My dad was a team dentist. My daughter went there, got her degree. She was a cheerleader. Weather. Whenever you see Miami, and 8 years ago they went there, 2017, undefeated, they lost. It's going to be cold. Miami didn't play in a cold weather game last week against Virginia Tech. It was in the 60s. That's not bad at all. Weather is going to be high of 36, the projection right now, low of 32. These kids, Miami, they could turn the AC up in their indoor facility here, maybe make it in the 50s. But it's going to be low to mid 30s. Not real windy, but just when it's that cold, it feels bad. These don't play well. Not used to catching balls like that, throwing balls like that, hitting, tackling. Generally, I've noticed Miami doesn't tackle well in cold weather, don't hit through and drive through guys. Hate to say it. I think Miami, everyone's talking about Miami, head-to-head. They beat Notre Dame. May not matter here. I had Pitt winning this game outright, 27-24 over Miami.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's been tested the last few weeks. Miami, no fault of their own. Some of the teams they draw in the ACC, but Syracuse is terrible. Stanford's terrible. Yep. Virginia Tech, they had a coaching change. They're looking forward to James Franklin next year. So a lot going on. We'll see now this big test here going up to Pittsburgh for the regular season finale. Up next, we will look at a big game on Friday slate inside the SEC battle in the Lone Star State, Texas A&M and Texas. We will look at that straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Tuesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Texas A&M 11-0 on the season. They had that big comeback in South Carolina a few weeks ago. And now you get the matchup with Texas. A lot of interest there in the Lone Star State, to say the least, for this game coming up on Friday. It's now time for our Lock of the Day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the Lock of the Day.
Teams had a long pause in their rivalry when A&M was in the SEC and Texas in the Big 12, and then Texas came back to the SEC, or came to the SEC. Now they get to play every year again, which is good for college football and good for the state of Texas. So the Aggies 11-0, the Longhorns at 8-3, Texas A&M a short favorite on the road here. Lee, what do you like?
Yeah. So since Ohio State, Texas has faced just 3, in my opinion, good offenses, and all were in the last 3 weeks. Vanderbilt gave up 31 points. A lot were in the fourth quarter. Georgia, 35. Had trouble getting stops in that game. Arkansas, 37 points last week. And it wasn't like, they were getting turnovers or Texas was turning the ball over and giving Arkansas ball in great field position. Arkansas actually did it middle of the third all the way through the fourth quarter with a backup quarterback. I think A&M is just better in every position here. I believe they're also going to unleash their full playbook. I think they've been holding back on some stuff. They want to secure that top 4 bid. They have revenge for last year where Texas dominated that game. These will be the best receivers combo that Texas faces here since that Ohio State game. And Ohio State really just never had the ball in that game. It was weird. Texas controlled the ball, just couldn't put it in. had a couple goal line stands at Ohio State. Concepcion and Kraber, how good are these two receivers? Well, they have combined 99 receptions. They're averaging almost 16 and almost 17 yards per reception. Their third guy, Ashton Bethel Roman, well, he's only averaging almost 25 yards reception on 5 touchdowns here. So also A&M, number 2 in the nation in sacks. I think they're going to put Arch Manning on his back here. I like A&M here. Get that revenge here. Stay in the top 3. Aggies, Texas A&M, 38-34 over Texas. Level 2 lock.
And looking forward to that game coming up on Friday night, the Black Friday special there in Austin. And Lee, November coming to a close, but still a lot of action before we hit the end of this month. So what's going on with Paramount Sports?
Yep, Turkey Shootout, world famous Turkey Shootout, 15 games from Thursday all the way through Sunday, college and NFL. So if you're going away for the weekend, you're all set. You buy it, immediate download. You got the 15 selections. We had one 14-1 record, couple 13-2s and 12-3 records, and a bunch of 11-4 records over the years on this promotion. So you want to get the Turkey Shootout, 15 games, not 197, not 147, just $97. And it looks like one of those games will be a 40 to 50 unit max wager, where pretty darn good. We're 74-31 lifetime on. So you want to hop on board? Turkey Shootout, 15 games, $97, one place, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as the podcast version. You can find that on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, Locked On Bets as well. You can find Lee on X at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. We'll be back with you coming up on Wednesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.